here. But welcome back to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. I hope you are having a wonderful morning. So plenty to talk about today. So allow me dive into the thick of the topics that we'll be discussing. But allow me first to start on news before we get into it all, as always. But welcome back to the channel. Thank you to all our new subscribers. Thank you to everybody that manages to join us for these live broadcasts whenever you have the moment in time. Then today we'll be speaking the UEFA Champions League. We'll be speaking Alexander Trent Arnold with his, after he revealed that he will be leaving the club, or after he did announce that he will be leaving the club. It's been a public secret that he will be leaving the club, although some Liverpool fans were still holding their cards out for a miracle or a little glimmer of hope that maybe he would eventually decide to stay with the club. As we'll be speaking that and more, and then of course we'll be also looking at some of the transfer rumors making the rounds. Later on, I'll be giving you my Premier League team of the season, and again you'll have to indulge me on that one as we get it all debated and discussed here on the Football Tribe YouTube channel. But for now, I do hope that you are having a wonderful morning. Welcome back from the Monday Night Football. There we did witness their Crystal Palace in action with Nottingham Forest at Selhurst Park. We did witness a few other games beyond the Premier League and more. But like I said, our focus will be on the UEFA Champions League as well as matters transfers, because those are making the rounds. As you know, the season progresses, as we wind down the season, because we are almost closing down, and we get it all started. So I feel the UEFA Champions League is going to be lit. I'm already feeling a bit nervous about what's to come, what there is that all those teams will have to offer. But anyways, where do we start it all? Let's start it with the game that was there on Monday Night Football when Crystal Palace shared the spoils with Nottingham Forest. Of course, bearing in mind that Nottingham Forest are trying to push for a place to play in the UEFA Champions League. Their owner in Marinakis, Angelos Marinakis, has already relinquished day-to-day running of the club, and he put all that into a trust and then appointed a board. ZDN14L says hi. Hi ZD, how are you doing? Thanks for joining the broadcast. Kindly like the broadcast, and if you're new here, kindly consider subscribing, but you're much appreciated for joining us. So Angelos Marinakis has already relinquished control of the club there, because the UEFA rules do dictate that you cannot be an owner of two clubs that are competing in the same competition. What's the time going there? It's about 6 minutes past 11 a.m. here in Kampala, Uganda. I can see that if it's Nazira saying hello. Hello, where are you joining us from? Kindly let me know where you're joining us from. Big up, bro. Thank you so much, ZD. Much appreciated. Where are you joining us from? Do let me know what country you're in, and how is your morning, how is your afternoon, how is your evening, how is your night, depending on the time zone in which you are. I do know for those in India, about I think it's approaching lunchtime, or already lunchtime for those in the Indian zone. And if you're in the UK, I think it is about 9 a.m. For those in the UK, and that kind of thing. But did you say you were alone? Alone in what sense? I don't gather what you mean by if I'm alone. Anyways, Monday Night Football, Nottingham Forest shared the spoils in a 1-all draw with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace needing a penalty from Ebelechi Easy in the 60th minute quite cool and sublime to get the lead in that one. But 4 minutes later, Morillo, the defender there, was scoring to make it 1-1, and that's how it ended. I want to shut up. I'm too lazy to chat. You want to shut up? Well, you're just typing. I do not know if that fits the context of what you're saying. But anyways, thank you for joining us. Much appreciated. If it so, that game ended in a 1-1 draw, and that's really meant that Nottingham Forest are still in the race to finish in those places or the top 5 or places for the UEFA Champions League. However, if they can also manage to hold out to the 6th place, they can go on to qualify for the UEFA Europa League next season, because that will be the slot that is directly available for the Premier League teams, since they already have since they already have 5 slots in the UEFA Champions League. So that result did not change their position, although it added just a point to them, because they are now 2 points behind a 50th place Chelsea, as well as a 4th place Newcastle, who have a similar number of points at 63. So I'll leave that at that, and we'll walk the journey. So we will move straight to Liverpool, where Alexander Trent Arnold has announced that he will be leaving the club at the end of the season after a 20-year spell with the Reds there. Of course, he's a homegrown player or a native player there in Liverpool. It was always a dream for him to play for Liverpool. However, it has not gone down really well with most Liverpool fans. Like I said in our preamble, it was a public secret that he was destined to leave Liverpool, although many Liverpool fans had hoped that maybe he would hold out. They did cling on some form of hope that maybe he would eventually stay, like the likes of Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk. In fact, some have come out to question his loyalty to the club, wondering whether the foreigners in Virgil van Dijk, the Dutch international, and an Egyptian in Mohamed Salah are more loyal to the club as opposed to a native. Well, I wouldn't want to look at it in that lens, because between Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah, none of them has been at Liverpool for the last 20 years. So that's the bit of context. 2, I didn't know Liverpool fans or the fan base were this toxic. And I say that with every ounce of power, that given what the comments I've seen or the reaction are revolving around the news that Alexander Trent Arnold will be leaving the club. I did see a fan or a Liverpool fan or a supposed Liverpool fan has set ablaze an Alexander Trent Arnold shirt. Now, dear Liverpool fans, please bear in mind that not every player is going to be maybe as loyal as Steven Gerrard to play out the entire career at Liverpool. Also bear in mind that we all have different dreams. While Alexander Arnold's dream as a child was to play for Liverpool, as he has matured, those dreams have become bigger, and in them becoming bigger is him playing for Real Madrid, maybe, which is arguably a bigger club than Liverpool. And I think that's a statement of fact that we cannot, even waste time debating. Because just yesterday, we were making the judgment that based on the number of league titles in record history, which is 20 as many as Manchester United, as well as 6 in the UEFA Champions League or in Europe, puts them above Manchester United. Of course, Manchester United do have 3 of those European championships. Former players like Gary Neville did come out to disagree that Manchester United is a bigger club, fan base worldwide. Again, that's all subject to debate. If let's say you put a Liverpool legend on one hand and a Manchester United legend on one hand, they could argue it out all day on which one is a bigger club. But that notwithstanding, for me, I think it goes without saying that on that similar criteria basis, Real Madrid is a much bigger club than Liverpool. And if you are a player like Alexander Trent Arnold and you really achieved it all with your childhood club, with your dream club, then it's only plausible that you move on to an even bigger club and challenge yourself. And that's what he appears to be doing, because he's on the verge of agreeing to a 5-year contract with the Los Blancos. Now, at the age of 26, I think that's as good as a player comes, but I think he's played his best football for Liverpool. Maybe not this season, but for all the seasons gone by, especially under Jurgen Klopp. He's been a very standout player. He's been a consistent player, very pivotal to their creative process and all that, and everything that there is that you can remember of a Jurgen Klopp side. So, and here's part of what he had to say in a brief interview with Liverpool or the Liverpool website or media. He said, I want to say it's not an easy decision, and there is a lot of thought and feeling that has gone into it. I've been here 20 years now, loved every single minute of it, achieved all my dreams, and achieved everything I ever wanted to achieve here. That's a part of what he said in a clip posted by Liverpool that was almost 2 minutes. Now, for a player that has won at least 9 major titles for the club, including 1 UEFA Champions League in 2019, a league title in 2020, and followed by another league title in 2025. That means 2 Premier League titles. Then 1 FA Cup, 1 FIFA Club World Cup, 1 UEFA Super Cup, 1 FA Cup, and 2 Carabao Cups or League Cups, as well as the Community Shield. For me, I do think that's quite commendable. I do not think he deserves the kind of stick that he is getting, even when you think he is being unloyal. I think he would be more appreciative for the 20 years he spent at the club, as opposed to feeling pained for the maybe 5-8 years left to the next, to what's left of his career as a football player. And I think he would be happy that a native or a homegrown player, a player that you've seen come and rise to the occasion, is going on to challenge himself to an even bigger set and even play in a different environment. And that's at Real Madrid and in the Spanish La Liga too. I think also you'd sort of understand that our dreams change, because success is a bit of a contagious thing. Once you achieve one level of success, you aspire to achieve the next. When Liverpool won the UEFA Champions League in 2019, they knew desperately that the following season, the priority, even if they would have wanted to win the UEFA Champions League the following season, they knew it in down their spine that they wanted to win the Premier League, and they went on to do that. Remember, before winning the UEFA Champions League in 2019, they had lost in 2018 in the finals against Real Madrid. That you remember, Liverpool, you had what's his name? The goalkeeper, the calamitous goalkeeper against whom Gareth Bale scored. So, I mean, that's the ambition, that's the aspiration. That once you achieve this, you aspire to do more. Now, I do know that Liverpool have won the Premier League this season. Next season, they want to go and do bigger things. They would have wanted to win a treble. And so that's the ambition of the club. So even him as an individual, he's won it all with Liverpool, that the race to win. So it's only plausible that he moves on elsewhere and tries to do it with a different club. I mean, look at Cristiano Ronaldo, leaving Manchester United, having won the UEFA Champions League in 2008, Premier League titles, went to Real Madrid, did it all, went to Juventus, managed to win the Scudetto and a few other cup competitions, of course, failing to win the UEFA Champions League, and then moved on. And that's the nature of success. That's the nature of life. So I do, while you may feel aggrieved by the decision that he's taken in this moment in his career, I think you should be more appreciative of what he's been able to do at Liverpool, as opposed to the current decision, the decision that he has made in this moment. And in any case, where you live without quarreling is where you usually return. That's one of the Ugandan adages that so often goes. So I do not think he does live on a bitter note. He did not try to force himself out of the club. Whether the club had a contract offer on table for him, maybe it came a little too late when he had been, his mind had been sort of soiled or enticed by whatever Real Madrid have to offer. I mean, he has gone by because Liverpool are always quick to, renew his contract, give him a new contract, because his performance kept on improving and improving. While you may think that it has flatlined this season, he did score that pivotal goal in the 1-0 victory as Liverpool beat up against Leicester City by a goal to nil. So, which was quite instrumental in their title-winning season. And he did come off the bench to score that goal. So I think Liverpool fans should be looking more to the positives as opposed to the disappointment that lies within the moment of having one of their childhood players go. Like I said, I did see this was from a post on the Liverpool handle, and in some of the comments, somebody did question his loyalty, saying, "How has an Egyptian and a Dutchman shown more loyalty than Sosa?" That means he's saying Virgil van Dijk, who put pen to paper on a 2-year contract, and Mohamed Salah, who also renewed his contract with 2 years at Liverpool. And then, of course, he goes on to say he is supposed to bleed red. The other two did grow up wanting to play for Liverpool like he did. That's all true, that they didn't grow up maybe dreaming to play for Liverpool, and he grew up dreaming to play for Liverpool. He has done that. That's why he's telling you, I've been here for 20 years. That's 2 decades. That's 2 decades I've given you. Allow me to use this example, and I do not know in what context you may take it. Michelle Obama did once say that if you have been in a marriage of 50 years and 30 of those years have been happy, then do not dwell on the 20 that have not been happy. So Liverpool fans, 20 years of his career, he's been at that club, at playing through all the youth levels until he made his senior debut. Just be grateful that he's been there and good enough to help guide the team to win pieces of silverware. And also, on a lighter note, you should be more happy that he's paving the way for Conor Bradley to also rise up in the same way he did. So instead of dwelling on the negatives, I think you should be looking at that as also another positive. As somebody said, stop posting this nonsense. Again, they do feel, disappointed that he is leaving. But like I said, they should look on the positive bit. He's not a Michael Owen. He's not a Michael Owen. We all remember that Michael Owen. Now, the other bit is that he's not selling out to a direct opponent in the Premier League. Just imagine Alexander Trent Arnold was leaving Liverpool to join Chelsea, to join Man United, God forbid, to join Arsenal, to join, Manchester City. How would that then feel? I think that would be maybe sort of a bad thing because he would be joining direct Premier League rivals, but he's not doing that. When Michael Owen left Liverpool and joined Real Madrid, when he returned to the UK, he did play for Newcastle, and when Newcastle got relegated in the 2008-2009 season, he left them as a free agent and joined Manchester United. Now, how many times you get to hear it in history that a former Liverpool player is joining Manchester United? If I were to compare the two, I'd say Michael Owen is a bigger seller than Alexander Trent Arnold. He went and played for Liverpool's historical arch-rival in Manchester United. But, at the end of the day, you do also acknowledge it was his decision. In 2012, Robin Van Persie left Arsenal and joined Manchester United. That's as bad as a dagger it comes. He left Arsenal, joined the direct rival, they won the league. Congratulations to him, he got the medal. But this is not what Alexander Trent Arnold has done. Yeah, so you do feel disappointed at that Liverpool fans have reacted in the manner in which they've reacted. Speaking of the manner in which he has reacted, I couldn't help but notice the hypocrisy of Jamie Carragher, who was saying that no pundit, no journalist, or any other commentator should tell Liverpool fans how to feel about Alexander Trent Arnold's decision. That's all true, but what we are saying is he does not deserve the stick that they're giving him. We are talking about a Jamie Carragher who yesterday was bashing players and teams for celebrating their wins, saying it's an exaggeration, they are over-celebrating, and that kind of nonsense. And yet he's the same person now telling people that they shouldn't tell Liverpool fans how to feel about the decision that Alexander Arnold has done. Oh, sorry on you. Jamie Carragher, come on, grow up. You've been here before. If you do not want Liverpool fans being told how to feel about what decisions their players make, then do not feel the need to tell the rest of the world how other teams should celebrate when they win a game. Do not feel the need to do so. Do not feel the need to tell managers on how to celebrate wins on the touchline or how to react to situations. Do not feel the need to do so. I mean, if you're saying it's an emotional thing, and you went on to make the argument of how it's emotional being a Liverpool fan, seeing the scenes that we did get to see as Liverpool clinched the Premier League title the last weekend, but one when they beat up against Tottenham Hotspur by 5-1. Well, fans elsewhere across the world for different clubs are that loyal, are that emotional about their own clubs. I've seen it with Sports Club Villa fans in Uganda. I've seen it with KCC fans. I've seen it with Express fans. I've seen it with Real Madrid fans. I've seen it with Barcelona fans. I've seen it with Manchester United fans. I've seen it with Arsenal fans. I've seen it with Tottenham Hotspur fans. It's emotional to them because that's where they pay allegiance to. That's what they've done. Go to London. Arsenal fans in London. What it means to them. Go to Chelsea. You get the original Chelsea fans. I mean, it's emotional for everyone. That's true. Everyone is emotionally attached to their club in one way or the other. So why do you want to dismiss other people's emotions and then validate Liverpool fans' emotions? I mean, that's as big as double standards to come. But anyways, we'll leave Yemi Carragher at that and move on to the UEFA Champions League semi-finals, because we do have a return leg that does come on our cards tonight when Inter Milan host AFC Barcelona at the Giuseppe Meazza Stadium, where they managed to beat them by 3-1 back in the season of 2009 and 2010. So can they do it again? It sounds like a huge mountain to climb, because we are talking about two teams, one with the best defensive solidity and the other with the most scoring form that there is that you can have. So, I mean, it's interesting that we even find ourselves at this stage of the competition with Inter Milan versus Barcelona. Of course, historically, they've met 13 times. Barcelona have won 6 of those. 5 of them have been draws, and Inter Milan have won just a shy 2. So that clearly tells you of how big a game it is, but how also imbalanced it is in terms of historical purposes. But that's not to say that when you look at both teams, of course, Barcelona are leading the Spanish La Liga table. They want to go on and win the Spanish La Liga. Inter Milan on the other side are in second place, just 3 points behind the leaders in AC Napoli. So both teams have had a great season so far, and they want to make it even better by advancing to the finals of the UEFA Champions League that will be in Munich this year. Now, can they make it through the All League West? Many players over the weekend in their respective victories. Inter Milan beating up against Hellas Verona by 1-0, while Barcelona were 2-1 winners against Rayo Vallecano. So, with that in mind, I do know Robert Lewandowski is back and did make the trip to Italy with the rest of the Barcelona squad. Hansi Flick's experience, having guided Bayern Munich to the triumph of the UEFA Champions League title in 2020. Then you do have Inter Milan on the other side with Simone Inzaghi did guide the team to the finals in 2023 when they went on to lose to Man City by 0-0. So both managers do have a bit of experience, but Hansi Flick has won it before as a manager with Bayern Munich, like well stated there. So defensive solidity, Inter Milan have conceded only 8 goals up to until this stage in the competition. That's after 13 games. Barcelona have conceded 20 goals up to until this stage of the competition. 13 games played, 40 goals scored for Barcelona, and they've conceded just half. Rafinha having half the contribution of those 40 goals that they've managed to score, scoring 12 and providing 8 assists across the campaign. So that's immaculate the campaign is having. At the league phase, Inter Milan only conceded 1 goal, but at the knockout stages, that's where they've conceded the most, and those goals have gone on to increase for whatever step they've climbed, because at the round of 16 they conceded one against Feyenoord, then they conceded three against Bayern Munich at the quarterfinals, then they conceded three in the first leg of the semi-finals that ended 3-3. So there is everything to play for both sides. I mean, you'd love to be at this stage in the competition. The manager in Simone Inzaghi was speaking ahead of this particular game, and he said they will look to try and mark out Lamine Yamal, who did cause them plenty of troubles in the first leg, because I thought they were giving him plenty of space down that right flank for him to get on the ball, and every time he gets on the ball, because of his dribbling skills, he can't get past any defender, gave them a lot of trouble, and that kind of thing. But Inter Milan also, Barcelona would be worried that Inter Milan can be very effective with the few chances that they may create across the game. The expectation is that Barcelona will dominate play in terms of possession, maybe in terms of attacks, but Inter Milan will need their defensive solidity to rise to the occasion. And here are some of the starting lineups that I would expect, given the changes that both sides were able to make over the weekend. Whether Marcus Thuram will be fit enough to start remains to be seen, but there are questions over Lautaro Martinez, who they say could be unavailable for the fixture or may not be fit enough to start. That means Marko Arnautovic may have to start alongside Marcus Thuram. So that is there for us to digest. So anyways, Jan Sommer in goal is expected, and then Yannick Besic, and then Francesco Acerbi, Alessandro Bastoni in that back three, then Denzel Dumfries, Nico Barella, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Enik Mkhitaryan, as well as Federico Di Marco to complete that midfield five. And then, like I said, Marko Arnautovic alongside Marcus Thuram should be the ones leading the lines if Lautaro Martinez is not fit enough to play or even unavailable in the matchday squad, which will be a huge dent for Inter Milan. Yeah. On the side of Barcelona, while their captain did return to action over the weekend in Marc-Andre ter Stegen, I do think that Wojciech Szczesny could be the one chosen to be in goal for this one. Then Inigo Martinez and Pau Kubasi in that centre-back pairing, alongside Gerard Martin and Hector Fort to complete the back four. Now, again, that's where Barcelona for me is the weakest. That backline, it's not that defensively solid. Even if you are to swap any of these for Ronald Araujo, who yesterday was being linked with the potential move to Manchester United, and I was saying I do not see that deal happening, because Ronald Araujo is not the best of defenders that you can look on to buy and that kind of thing. So it sort of remains to be seen whether that deal is even possible, but we'll wait to see. So anyway, Pedri and Frenkie de Jong to start in that double pivot in the midfield, then Lamine Yamal, Fermin Lopez, and Rafinha to be ahead of them, as well as Ferran Torres. I do not think Robert Lewandowski would be ready to start this fixture, even when he is returned fresh from injury. He's a very decent goal scorer that can turn up the heat on any day, and it's upon that basis that I do think that Barcelona have the higher power, or the high firing power, to get the better of Inter Milan. I do get the feeling that even when Inter Milan can be cohesively solid, you do sort of feel that it will take, that Barcelona will sort of outrun them. They will attack them from all sorts of angles and may get the better of them. I remember when the first leg ended, I said it was a 52% chance for Inter Milan to advance at the expense of Barcelona. But I mean, the more you look at it, the more it becomes a 50-50, by the way. But if you are to give anyone the edge, it would be Barcelona, for 51 now, 49 for Inter Milan, because of their attacking strength. Because Barcelona, with that firepower, I mean Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, of course, Pedri in that midfield, very, very decent player. So, what is my prediction? It could be a draw in normal time that goes into extra time, and the longer that game may go on, you feel the bigger the advantage that Barcelona may have, because averagely they have younger players as compared to those of Inter Milan. We've spoken about their ages before, and most of them being above 29, 12 of them being above the age of 32, and then about 5 of them being above the age of 35, 7 of them being above the age of 32, and 5 being above the age of 35. So that could be a factor overall. Anyways, it's a bit of a hard one to call, but I don't know. I'm inclined to go with Barcelona to advance to the finals here. But let's wait and see. Perhaps when the starting lineups do come out later in the day, that's 1 hour prior to kickoff, we'll get to, maybe do a broadcast and maybe revisit our predictions and our sentiments about the game, because sometimes significant changes to the starting lineups could determine which way the game sways. Anyways, we are half an hour into the broadcast. Allow me to wrap it here and wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Stay blessed, and I'll see you next time. I'm sure very soon we'll be talking transfers on this channel, and maybe in the early evening there we'll get the chance to discuss that and more. Stay blessed for now. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Keep it locked on the Football Tribe YouTube channel, and we appreciate the time that you dedicate to be with us for every time you manage to spare the time to be with us for these live broadcasts. Bye-bye.